process on me. Hello everyone and welcome to the show! Thank you for being here. As you can see, stage is in 360 degrees. This is called In the Round theater term. Everyone here has a different perspective on the show. Everyone sitting down here, please do not interact with the actors in any way. There's really no audience interaction, so don't worry about that. Everyone, please double check your cell phones are off, if you haven't already. We will have 2 intermissions that are 10 minutes each. We ask that you very quickly use the bathroom if you have to, then return to your seats during those intermissions so we can end the day on time. If we have extra time at the end of the show, you just have social time until 3:35, early normal dismissal. So I want to talk about the show just a little bit. This is called The Curious Savage by John Patrick. We've been working for many months on this. It is a comedy, it is warm-hearted. It is about mental health, being true to oneself, and examining the meaning of empathy. We'd like you to think about those as you watch the show and appreciate all the hard work our directors and our casting crew have put in. So please be respectful during the show. By respectful, I mean holding your conversations until intermission or after the show. It is a life skill to know how to attend a show and be a respectful audience member. And that's part of the fun. You get to have those really cool conversations during intermission. So please don't be whispering and saying things while the action is going on. So thank you for that. Yeah, we really love this show. We've had a great time working on it. The casting crew are really excited to share all their hard work with you. You're, of course, welcome to laugh. Please laugh as much as you want. There is some funny lines. It's okay if you don't understand every single line. That's okay. It's okay not to understand every word. But thank you for appreciating the show. I think our student directors are ready to take it away. Please give everyone a big round of applause and enjoy the show.
Is there a car still in front? I said, is there a car still in front, Fairy?
Byron, Florence was talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Florence. I was watching the fireflies. What did you say?
I said, can you see if they've left yet?
Nope. I wish I'd been born a cat so I could see in the dark.
I don't think I'll wait for her. I'm going to get a book and go to my room.
Does your jaw hurt tonight, Jeff?
Not bad.
Then stay with us a little longer. We'd like to have you.
Jeff, you have already invested 367 minutes in waiting. Surely you can afford an additional 10 cents worth.
All right, my statistical friend. My curiosity is good for 10 minutes more?
I wonder what she's like. Miss Willie says they're one of the wealthiest families in America.
Oh no, that's bad. She'll probably have an expensive camera she can't work. Or rave about an artist I've never heard of.
Oh, cynic. Has money spoiled me?
Do you have money, Fairy?
Facts.
Let's not be prejudiced about money. Some of my best friends are wealthy. Hannibal, play us something while we're waiting. Help distract Jeff.
Well, you've caught me too. What shall it be?
Surprise us.
How about clown ditties?
Please don't play clown music. Hannibal, it frightens me.
Frightens you?
Terrifies me. I was stolen by clowns when I was a child and rescued, just as they were about to feed me to the lions. Well, I was.
Go ahead, Hannibal.
I hope she likes it. Maybe she plays some instrument herself. The harp. Oh, I hope she plays the harp. I was raised on the harp all my life. I am sorry, Hannibal. Go ahead. Father played like an angel.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a book I want on the shelf. I'm sorry. Hannibal.
Fairy, get the book for Jeff so we can listen to Hannibal.
Wait, I'll get a chair.
Never mind, Fairy. I can get it.
No, Jeffrey. Climbing on chairs is women's work. Men have mountains. Which book did you want?
The Lifespan of the Ape.
People give the strangest books to this library. I never could get into the Forbidden Tibet.
It's amazing what standing above everyone else does. Did you know I feel smarter than anyone in the whole world?
It's the yellow one.
Books are in my blood. My mother invented the filing system in the New York Library. She was queen of cross-index.
I can get Jeff's book, Fairy.
No, musicians, they shouldn't work.
Careful not to get dust in your eyes.
Wouldn't you like animal husbandry? I can reach that one.
No, this time it's got to be the Lifespan of the Ape.
Go sit out with this.
Thank you.
Lights! Lights! Turn the lights back on!
Hannibal, get to the switch before someone is hurt.
Don't let me fall!
It looks like Mrs. Patty is back.
Please, Mrs. Patty.
Turn the lights back on, please!
Let us keep them on.
Some night you're going to turn out the lights at the wrong time and end up hurting somebody. I do wish you'd chosen something else to give up for Lent.
It's unfair to make the rest of us suffer just to get you to heaven, Mrs. Patty.
Other people like electricity.
Now you sit at your easel and leave the lights alone.
I must say, you started us, Miss Lily. We thought you were in the front office.
For the love of Peace, Fairy, what are you up to?
I was getting a book for Jeffrey.
With a violin bow.
I couldn't quite reach it.
I certainly didn't mean to cause all this commotion. Forget it.
No, I'll get your book. Everyone watch his own head. Timber! There you are, Jeffrey. You may take the bow, Miss Willie. You may take my hand, Hannibal.
The next time anyone wants a book from the top, Fairy, call me. One whole shelf might have fallen on you.
Who ever heard of anyone getting hurt by good books?
Enough of them might, darling, and I'd hate that to happen. I hate everything in the world, but most of all, I hate cold cream hot dogs, codfish, crawfish, catfish, catnip, deep dip sawdust, subway sewers, skewers, buttermilk caterpillars, frictions, fractions, pins, puns, pins, and electricity.
Can we meet her soon, Miss Willie?
What is she like?
I haven't seen her. Let's tidy the room up a bit. Fairy, will you put the Parcheesi board away, please?
You're taking an awfully long time in the front office.
Is she young or is she old, Miss Willie?
All I know is that her name is Savage, and she gets the blue board.
Oh, well, I hope she's beautiful. Competitions simply exhaust me.
Well, bingo, you tied that one up in a hurry.
Don't call me that, Miss Willie. Please. It's a pen that my wife uses.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
And I wish you wouldn't single me out to kiss.
You're the handsomest.
What would my wife think if she came to call and saw a strange woman kissing me? She'd explode.
Oh, she would if I know her.
Will you please try to remember?
I'll try. Forgive me.
Hello, this is Fair.
Oh, hello? Oh, yes, Dr. Emmett, right away. Put the dartboard up, Hannibal. Please don't clutter the place, darlings. Let's try and make a good first impression.
Will we meet her now?
I don't know.
Oh, We haven't had anyone exciting here since that magician's wife. She was on nerves from being sawed in half so much. What was her name?
Something hyphenated.
I forget. But she had color. Ugh, my relations are all so drab. Both my parents were albinos.
Really, Fairy? You shouldn't invent such things.
Well, they were emotional albinos.
Don't peek. It's so degrading to get on your knees.
You get on your knees to pray, don't you? Here, I'll say a prayer. Dear God, let me see something.
See anything?
Oh, yes I do.
What do you see?
1, 2, 3 strange people coming out of Dr. Emmett's office.
Oh,
They're coming in here. Quick, let's hide in the hall and eavesdrop.
Jeff, is that ethical?
You know I'll be sent out anyhow.
We could call it espionage.
Come, Miss Patty, we are going to spy.
Oh, I'll down the light switch. It's rude to let guests enter a dark room.
but really, Fairy, this is the last time I'm going to be a party to peeking. Nearly simply ruins my nylons.
I mustn't get excited or I'll get hiccups and betray us.
Dr. Emmett will join you in a moment.
Please tell him that there's nothing more. We'd like to get started back.
Yes, Senator Savage. There are newspapers on the table. Please, make yourselves at home.
What do you think of it now, Titus? Are you reassured?
Somewhat. It certainly doesn't look like an institution.
Not at all. Mother will be happy and contented here. I'm sure. It's a charming place.
I just hope that we haven't made a mistake.
Oh, darling, the only mistake we made was in not taking steps sooner.
I just don't like to be thought insensitive. Perhaps it would have been wiser to have kept her at home with an attendant.
That would have been disastrous.
Aw, you're hard.
Someone has to be practical.
No, you're callous. I think you've married too many foreigners.
Samuel, darling, we've done what we had to be done. Let's not crow about it, please.
Lilybell is right. This is civilized behavior.
I'm sorry to have delayed you. I was anxious to have Dr. Johnson question your mother.
This is quite a place you have here, Doctor. It's been a great relief to us found it so cheerful.
But then we are assured that your place has offered the best that money could buy.
We hope we offer the best that experience can provide.
Oh, one thing I meant to ask you, Doctor. Will Mother be exposed to any danger here?
Not at all. The guests in this wing are in their final stage of treatment. They are extremely kind and cooperative. On the surface, they would seem quite as normal as, say, yourself, Senator.
You don't say.
Oh, while you're waiting, I'd like to ask a few questions about your mother's memorial fund.
There's little more to tell. She planned on using it to give away the entire Savage estate.
The newspapers call it her happiness fund.
Was this indifference to money recent?
I wouldn't say so.
She's always giving money to foolish causes.
Would you mind being more specific?
Well, there was an Italian farmer who wanted a box of soil from Italy.
Just dirt. Mother spent $200 to get it for him.
And there was a flower peddler who asked for a tombstone for his horse.
He got it.
As their father died, this obsession got progressively worse. Last summer, she chanted a ship to send 1,000 school children around the world.
Why?
She sent them out to go around the world while there was still a world around.
We stopped her just as she was on the verge of setting up this fund legally.
With a board of directors.
With a fantastic board of directors. Not a banker, a bishop, or a lawyer. Among them.
Well, whom did she choose?
A postman, a gardener, a veterinarian, and herself.
We should have known her mind was going on the day she decided to go on the stage.
On that! Have you ever heard such of a case before, Doctor? What would make a woman of her age suddenly decide to become an actress?
Well, the unique is routine here, Senator. Nothing surprises us.
If she was talented or even vain, I could have understood her.
But she wasn't. She was always quiet, even timid. Then suddenly this amazing change.
Grief must have done it.
But why turn to acting? Life has enough drama in it.
God knows.
Isn't that right, Doctor?
As Mr. Savage says, God knows.
And I wish you could explain that better to us.
Obvious exhibitionism.
Exactly.
She took her childish delight in being seen everywhere with that teddy bear.
Anything to indulge this sudden love for notoriety.
Her entire conduct was travesty of dignity and self-respect.
And sound business.
Can you tell me, Senator, has there ever been a similar pattern in your mother's family?
Frankly, I don't know.
You see, Doctor, she's not actually our mother. Father remarried when we were children.
Oh,
But
I see.
But it has never made any difference in our feeling toward her.
Well, I'm afraid I can't be of much help to you until I've had a chance to observe her conduct here myself.
You're the doctor.
We know that she'll be comfortable in such a charming place.
I'm sorry, charming? I mean, come on. Oh no, oh yeah. I wouldn't mind staying here myself.
This is no place to laugh, Samuel.
Oh, but we encourage laughter here, Senator. We think it healthy.
You do?
Definitely, it's good therapy. Or, as Byron says, and if I laugh at any mortal thing, 'tis that I may not weep.
Of course, of course.
I beg your pardon, Dr. Emmett, but Dr. Johnson won't be able to complete Mrs. Savage's file for the moment.
Why not?
He finds her a little uncooperative.
Then bring her in here, please.
Yes, Doctor.
Well, while you're waiting, I'll go and have a talk with Dr. Johnson myself.
Please don't come, Doctor.
Please, doctor.
We prefer you stay. I think the shorter we make this, the better for all concerned.
She's vindictive.
For some reason, Doctor, she holds me responsible.
We'll have to give her a little more time to get over her resentment.
Will you come in here, Mrs. Savage?
Will you take a seat, Mrs. Savage?
We waited to say goodbye to you, Mother.
I do not like thee, Lilybell. The reason why I cannot tell. But this I know and know full well. I do not like thee, Lilybell.
She's been chanting that over and over all the way down here.
Your children are leaving, Mrs. Savage. Won't you like to say goodbye to them? They would like to say goodbye to you, Mrs. Savage.
The fireflies are out. How lovely. What makes the fireflies light up, Doctor? Are they mating?
I really couldn't say.
I thought you'd know. Isn't this a bug house?
This is the Cloisters. This is to be your home. I am Dr. Emmett.
Wouldn't it be fascinating if human beings glowed like fireflies while they were mating? Do you light up when you're mating, Lilybell? Lord knows you're flighty.
We might as well go, Titus. She's being unpleasant again.
Surely. Mother, you won't let us departure in an atmosphere of bitterness.
50 needles and 50 pins, and 50 dirty Republicans.
She's determined to take the wrong attitude.
It's futile.
Well, Tom will take care of this. Come, Simon.
Oh, I'll send more of our clothes down later, Doctor. We couldn't pack but one grip under the circumstances.
Well, Sunday is Visitor's Day, if you care to bring them down then.
Oh, my sister is returning to Paris next week, but we'll make arrangements. Good night, Mother.
If there's anything you need, Mrs. Savage, Miss Wilhelmina will take care of you.
We have a lovely garden out there. You'll be able to see it in the morning. You know, when I was a kid, we always said 30 needles and 30 pins. You've added 20 more dirty Republicans. It's a fault of mine. Exaggeration. Oh, it's stupid of me to try to irritate them like this. I only irritate myself. Well, I suppose it must be exasperating now to be funny later. I noticed one of its eyes is gone. It must have fallen out of the office. I'll look as soon as they go. Don't bother. It fell out last fall at the opera. I'd have found it, but the usher was so nasty about my lighting matches during the magic fire music. Do you know what this is? Suppose you tell me. It's a teddy bear. Surely you've seen one before. Not that big. Do you know what I do with it? I couldn't possibly guess. I sleep with it. Do you? Yes, I do, you. Are you going to speak to me as I were an imbecile too? No, here, we mustn't be hostile. Of course not. You haven't harmed me. Would you care to know why I sleep with it? If you'd care to tell me. I don't care. And I'll tell you. I get lonely. I'm too old to have a lover and too fastidious to sleep with a cat. Well, then by all means, you must take it to bed with you here. Would you care to take off your hat? Well, if I'm to spend the rest of my life here, I might as well. It's a mighty saucy hat. A 10-cent piece of felt and 3 flowers. $85. Why economy should be expensive, I don't know. It takes imagination. And the blood of pirates. But I wanted it. I wanted a hat like this since I was 16 years old. For all the good it does me now. Well, I won't need a hat here. Maybe you could use it for something. I'm not at all sure what. Oh, no, you better keep it. You might need it again. Dear, my hair looks like the matted end of a coconut. Oh, I don't think so. It's a heavenly color. You should have seen it last year. It was a bright red. Then, just to be different, I dyed it black with a white streak in the middle. I look like nothing so much as a skunk. Finally, I just gave in and tinted it blue. It goes with everything. Well, it'll certainly go with the room here. Would you like to go up and get settled? Is it time to lock me up? I wouldn't dream of locking you up. Did you bring a suitcase with you? My daughter did. I wasn't consulted. I'll go to the office and get it. There will be time to explore your surroundings tomorrow. Oh, you can wait here. Alone, of course. No handcuffs? We have the honor system. Honor system indeed. Hello? Miss Woolley says the doors are only there to keep the world outside.
Coiny, isn't it? It's alive!
Really, Fairy, you must stop frightening yourself.
The poor thing's quite harmless.
It won't bite?
It won't shed, lay eggs, or bark. And to the best of my knowledge, it's unvexed by sex.
In that case, any friend of yours is a friend of mine.
Perhaps we should introduce ourselves. You must be Mrs. Savage. I'm Florence Williams.
How do you do?
We've been expecting you all afternoon. We're so glad to have you with us. May I introduce Fairy May?
Say you love me.
Oh, but we've just met.
Oh, but you don't have to mean it. I feel wonderful when people say they love me.
Well, I'm sure everyone loves you.
You see, I told you she wouldn't be spoiled. Welcome to the Cloisters. Climate best by government test.
Thank you.
This is Hannibal. And this is our Mrs. Patty.
How do you do, Mrs. Patty?
I hate everything in the world. But most of all, I hate lightning, skunk cabbage, custard, mustard, spiders, blisters, girdles, mice, bees, keys, ragweed, chloroform, rhubarb, sparkles, bats, broken glass, crumbs, drums, tombstones, gallstones, salt, and thunder.
Why don't you like rhubarb?
Mrs. Patty won't answer you, Mrs. Savage.
She only recites the things she hates.
Sweet but stubborn.
She hasn't said a thing in about 20 years.
Oh, but why?
She got mad.
Her husband told her to shut up.
And she did.
She gave up conversation for life.
But she's only giving up electricity for lunch.
Mrs. Patty, you are a woman of wisdom. There's only one thing wiser than saying very little, and that's saying nothing at all. Would you like to hold it?
She likes you.
I like her.
Come here, Jeff. You haven't met Jeff.
Please excuse my left hand.
Certainly. Is it a toothache?
Jeff's face is scarred. He likes to spare people.
Well, there's no need to spare me. I have to look at myself every morning.
Dr. Emmett refuses to let me wear a bandage.
Well, we all must humor our doctors every once in a while.
Well, now you've met everyone. We're a small group in this wing, and we hope you find us comfortable to be with.
But Mrs. Savage hasn't met everyone. She hasn't met the Holy Terror.
Oh, of course. How stupid of me.
Where is he, Florence?
He was here just a moment ago. John Thomas?
I think he might have gone out into the hole.
I'll check. John Thomas?
You won't hurt her, will you?
Gracious, what did I?
You won't object, will you?
Well, what is John Thomas?
Her son. What did you think?
Here?
Oh, yes, he was born here.
I can't. Oh, goodness. Sleep on the floor. My husband warned me I'd be a bad mother. Mrs. Savage, this is my son.
You like children, don't you?
Everyone's but my own. How old is he?
He's 5.
He's big for 5 months.
He's 5 years old.
I meant years.
Sure. Will you excuse me now? I have to put him to bed. He has the measles, you see. I do hope you won't catch them. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, that was exceedingly kind of you, Mrs. Savage, not to notice anything wrong.
We didn't have time to explain, but you were like lightning.
Poor Florence isn't well. We pretend for her sake. We hope you will too.
Oh, I will.
You should understand, Mrs. Savage, that except for Florence, the rest of us are free to leave here anytime we want to.
But we don't go because there's no better place to go.
You're a very lucky woman to be accepted, Mrs. Savage, if I do say so myself. And I do.
Oh, do be quiet!
Tyrant!
What is that?
That rude noise is the signal for us to go to our rooms.
It's the evil of the machine age. Perfect pistons and no manners.
Well, ours, not your reason why. I wonder why no one ever quotes the first line. It's someone blunder.
Good night.
I didn't hear you. We never say that here. It means there's no more.
No more what?
No more of so much.
Don't be disturbed by Jeff's manner. His plane was shot down in the war. He hasn't quite recovered since.
Was his face badly burned?
Oh, not at all. Jeff bailed out, but he was the only one. He lost all his crew. His scars go deeper than we can see.
You must have assumed by now that me and Hannibal are the only guests here free to leave. We pretend for the others to save their pride. Oh, Mrs. Patty, I'm sorry. I forgot you were still here, and I didn't mean you anyhow. Oh, I could tear my tongue out. Will you excuse me? If I don't go apologize, she'll sulk. Mrs. Patty!
Fairy has the gift of the good for saying the wrong thing.
I should think it would take a bit of doing to apologize to someone who doesn't talk and sulks anyhow.
Oh, you'll get used to Mrs. Patty. Just treat her like a clock. Look to her to see how the day goes. but don't expect an answer. She's happy at her easel anyhow.
Is she an artist?
I don't know whether she's an artist or not, but she paints
Portraits?
seascapes, which is rather odd because I don't think she's ever seen the ocean.
I got to warn you, Mrs. Savage. If you go to your room, don't sleep. Stay awake.
What did she mean about not sleeping?
None of us sleeps here.
Where do you sleep?
Oh, we all go to our rooms. We've agreed to that on principle, but we never close our eyes. When you go to sleep, today ends. And when today ends, tomorrow begins. Today we're safe. Tomorrow may be filled with disaster. So, we never sleep. Is there anything simpler?
Not much.
Today's the only certainty.
Hannibal, you heard the buzzer. Why aren't you in your room?
I am in spirit, and everybody says it's the spirit that counts.
Why don't you take this book?
Don't forget, fight the night.
Did they all come in to meet you here? Well, there was Mrs. Patty and 4 others who have no business being here at their age.
I quite agree.
Do you think I belong here?
We're understaffed, Mrs. Savage. I'm not too busy to have any opinions.
I'd like to know what they told you about me.
Was there anything to tell?
Did they mention my memorial fund?
Not to me.
Then they probably told you that my husband's death affected my reason.
That would be understandable.
But untrue.
Why? Weren't you happy with your husband?
I married Jonathan when I was 16 years old. I loved him from the moment I met him till the moment he died. Do you know what that meant?
I think so.
Well, you don't, my dear. It meant that my only aim in life was to make him happy, to want what he wanted, to anticipate what might please him. And that meant that all of the things I ever wanted had to be forgotten.
But surely you had no regrets.
None. While he lived. But after he was gone, I suddenly remembered all the foolish things I'd always wanted to do.
What had you always wanted to do?
Things that would have shocked poor Jonathan.
Such as dyeing your hair blue?
That, and studying French, and ballet dancing, and people. As a girl, I was sure I could have been a great actress. So, with no responsibilities and time running out, I decided to be one.
But don't you think you waited a little too long, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, I certainly do. Had I acted a fool in my youth, no one would have noticed the difference in my old age.
Oh, I never think of you as old, Mrs. Savage.
Well, having kicked over the traces myself and learned once again the importance of unimportant things, I decided I'd help others have the foolish things they'd always wanted.
How were you going to do that?
By establishing the Jonathan Savage Memorial Fund, a foundation for giving money away in memory of my husband. And that insane idea has led me here.
Oh, well, you won't find it too unpleasant here. Shall we go up to your room?
At least I learned one thing from my French lessons.
What's that?
What I am. I am a mort canard. That's a dead duck, I think.
Oh, now it's not as bad as that.
Yes, it is. Someday you'll realize that a great injustice was done me. You'll realize that I was always quite sane. But here I am, and here they'll try to keep me, with my few foolish years taken from me. You know, if people would walk around the edges of the carpet every once in a while, it would save wearing them out in the middle.
Beautiful, beautiful. What would we do without you, Hannibal? You bring melody to the morning.
You could be in the concert field, Hannibal, if you worked at it.
You're so right, Jeff. Golden fingertips. I simply surrender to it. I'm a rack.
Do come in, Mrs. Savage.
I trust you had a pleasant, sleepless night.
Lovely, thank you, not a wink.
You've just missed Hannibal's recital.
Oh, I heard it. In fact, it's what brought me out of my room.
You wouldn't believe it, but Hannibal hasn't picked up the violin until just last year.
What makes you think I wouldn't believe it? Was it something you composed yourself, Hannibal?
Bach, with variations of my own.
Mathematics loss was certainly our game.
Now I don't quite follow that, Barry.
Barry knows that I used to be a statistician.
Thank you. Now I'm straight.
My last position was with the government, charting trends. I'm supposed to keep my finger at the pulse of the public and my ear to the ground.
A rather vulnerable position, was it not?
Very. I was fired and replaced by an electronic calculator.
I should think you hate electricity too.
Oh, no, but I did want to make some money with my brains. So I spent the next 2 years trying to find something that could be bought for a dime and sold for $1. And that was habit forming. Oh, I'm afraid my education was wasted.
I'm going to send John Thomas to Princeton. Their boys aren't very bright, but they're such gentlemen.
Oh, that reminds me. May we ask you a very personal question, Mrs. Savage?
They're the only ones worth asking, my dear.
A little birdie told us you used to be an actress. Bursting with curiosity, is it true?
Oh, that? Well, if performing on stage makes you an actress, then I suppose it was true.
Miss Lily, she's the bird Florence mentioned, told us that you'd been on the New York stage.
I wonder if you've ever seen me, Mrs. Savage.
Not unless you were quick. Actually, I was only in 2 plays. The first was Macbeth.
Oh, I adore Macbeth, all that blood. I sent a pint of my blood to the Red Cross once. They sent it back.
I should think you would have been a novel departure as Lady Macbeth.
I can't tell you how much I agree with you, but they cast me as a witch.
Oh, but you're the perfect witch. Please speak some witch talk for us.
I'm afraid I didn't have any lines. If I did, it would have cost me twice as much.
Why did it cost you anything?
Oh, I backed the show. If I hadn't put up the money, I couldn't have played even the mute witch.
Was it expensive?
Extremely, but worth it.
What a pity. Weren't you discouraged?
Bitterly. But man is by nature optimistic. If he weren't, he'd eat his young. So, I decided I'd write a play and star myself.
You wrote a play?
I did indeed, with a courage born of ignorance and a plot out of wedlock.
What part did you play?
Naturally, the lead. Not Guilty, starring Ethel P. Savage.
Ooh, what does the P stand for?
I haven't the faintest idea. My numerologist said I needed it in my name for good luck. He was right. We ran a year.
What was the play about?
A mother who'd murdered a man and was defended by a young woman lawyer who turns out to be her daughter. I had red hair and died in my daughter's arms every night with 2 matinees a week, just as the curtain came down and the judge whispered, "Not guilty." Oh, I've never had a better time in my life.
I gather the notices were good this time.
Well, they were sincere, but it didn't make any difference.
Well, what did they say?
The Times said my place at the theater back 50 years. But that's impossible. I stole the plot from Madam X, and that's only 40 years old.
Wouldn't you think they'd know?
But Wall Street was wonderful. It said I brought something new to the theater.
Money?
Really, Fairy, money isn't new.
What did Wall Street say?
Oh, it said I had a tenacious mediocrity, unhampered by taste.
Oh, but that wasn't good.
It was perfect. In our advertisements, we simply said tenacious and unhampered.
And you ran a year?
We'd have been running still if my daughter hadn't come home and stopped me. Oh, I know I was bad, and audiences only came to laugh at me, but we both had a good time. I do miss it. What more can you ask for? Oh well, my turn is coming.
I don't think that was very nice of your daughter. Oh, please don't. Please.
fair. What's wrong?
Mrs. Savage is going to read the newspaper.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, Mrs. Savage.
You mustn't read it.
Just a moment. I already know what the paper is going to say, so you can't keep anything from me.
But we don't know what it says in the paper.
Then why are you trying to hide it from me?
We have an agreement. We never read the newspapers until they're a month old.
We find we're much happier when we wait.
What are you waiting for?
Well, naturally, we're waiting for. What are we waiting for, Hannibal?
What are we waiting for?
Perspective?
Perspective.
A peace of mind?
Security.
It's better to read about the pleasant things a month after they've happened.
I love you all for wanting to help, but I want to know something important in the newspaper, and I want to know about it now, not in a month.
We're only trying to help you.
Yes.
I appreciate the help, but I've made my bed, and I'd like to know who's in it.
Disaster is easy to digest when it's aged a little.
It's reassuring to know that everything's over and nothing can be done.
Stop it. We can't stop Mrs. Savage if she insists. We don't know her well enough to be rude yet.
Florence is right.
Well, if you do read anything unpleasant, don't tell us.
No. If there's trouble in the world, it won't help us to know about it.
These are yesterday's papers. I want today's paper.
It's not here yet.
When does it come?
I don't know.
Well, is there a radio here?
Yes, right over there.
Maybe I can catch the news. Why didn't anyone mention there was a radio here?
You didn't ask us?
This doesn't light up. Is there anything wrong with the set?
I don't think so. Oh, of course it hasn't any tubes.
It hasn't any what?
Tubes. Mrs. Patty steals them. She hates electricity, you know.
Nobody knows where she hides them.
Why didn't anyone mention the set had no tubes?
You didn't ask us.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. How high is that date?
Much too high.
Easily 10, 15 chairs high?
And I suppose no one leaves it open?
Don't look beyond the garden, Mrs. Savage. There may be a better place out there somewhere, but if you give yourself to go search for it, you may not find it and lose what you have.
You'll like it here after a while.
Except during January. The rooms get a little cold.
We like you already.
It isn't that I find you delightful, but it's just that, well...
Please don't say anything mean.
What? We have to go, Mrs. Savage.
Where?
It's garden hour. We each have a little plot in the garden where we can plant things. Flowers, vegetables, other things.
Last year I planted a bird seed to see what would come up.
And what did come up there?
Nothing. But it was a rich horticultural experience.
There's a big tree out front, and at Christmas it lights up and says, there's a sign that says, Merry Christmas. Keep out.
Come with us, Mrs. Savage. I'll show you my delphiniums.
No, you go ahead. I have some serious thinking to do. I'll just stay here.
But the buzz. One has to obey orders.
May I ask what you're doing, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, I believe in wearing out a carpet evenly.
How prudent. I'm going to help you.
Oh, but don't you have to garden?
This is much more constructive.
I'll join too. We must all do our share.
Come, Liz. Many feet make light work.
I didn't mean to start a procession.
This is a nice change. Most women lead us in circles.
I feel like the Pied Piper.
Jeff, you take leaves. Hannibal can have buds. Mrs. Savage will have roses, of course. And the rest of us will walk on thorns. Huh? Do you know what we're doing, Miss Willie?
Wearing out the carpet evenly.
Oh, someone told you.
Didn't I hear the buzzer ring garden hour?
I didn't hear it. I think it's broken.
Fairy, aren't you ashamed?
Oh, I wish I were dead.
Oh, I'm afraid this is my doing, Miss Willie. I didn't feel like gardening anyhow.
But you work so hard in your flowers. Do you want them to die, Florence?
I don't want anything to die.
That's so true. Florence wouldn't hurt a fly. She catches them and puts them out the window. Flies adore her.
I think we had all better go out and work in the garden. Fairy, share your seat with Mrs. Savage. Run along now. Are you going with them, Mrs. Savage?
I wanted to speak with you alone.
All right. What can I do for you?
A great deal. And it may be that I can do a great deal for you.
Are you about to offer me a bribe, Mrs. Savage?
How did you guess?
Everyone does. At first.
Still, my offer is a little different. I have the money. I'll give you $20,000. You can leave that door open tonight. $30,000.
Don't you like us?
That is a most irritating response to a sound business offer. $40,000. You could be free of this place too.
But I don't want to be free of it.
$50,000. You could see Cairo, Mandalay, the South Pacific.
But I've seen Cairo, I've been to Mandalay and the South Pacific.
You have?
I had 4 years as an army nurse.
Still, you should be able to use $50,000.
Now, where are you going to get $50,000, Mrs. Savage? That's a fortune.
Never mind, I can get it. And in the current idiom, 50,000 is peanuts.
Oh, no, I believe you. But I'm afraid I have to refuse.
Then you leave me no choice but to burn the place down.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
Oh, yes, I would.
Too many people here wouldn't know how to save themselves. You think of them first.
If you think I belong here, why are you appealing to my reason?
I wasn't. I was appealing to your emotions.
Well, I'm going to get out of here soon enough. It's just that bribing you would have been cheaper. I'll have to spend a couple of million at least now.
$50,000. Oh, good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Miss Willie. Is Mrs. Savage downstairs?
She just this minute went out to the garden.
What is her state of mind this morning?
Oh, the usual pattern. She's already offered me a bribe.
How much did she offer you?
The highest yet! 50,000, the poor dear.
Did she sound confident?
Definitely manic. She talked as if she still controlled her own affairs.
Apparently, she does. Read this. I've just been talking to her stepchildren. They're practically out of their minds themselves. The senator is leaving Washington at once, picking up a sister in New York and the judge in Boston. They'll be here by tonight.
This is the most amazing story I've ever read. When did they discover it?
This morning, I gather. They asked me to confine her to her room.
I don't understand it. How could she get away with so much money?
Apparently, her husband left her the entire Savage estate. She's been selling out control ever since.
$10 million. That has to be a typographical error.
Oh, they had it all right.
But what could she have done with it?
As her son says, God knows.
Could she have spent it?
I doubt it. Will you call her in here, please? I'd better tell her what to expect.
Of course. Oh, Mrs. Savage, will you come in, please? Dr. Emmett wants to speak with you. Are you going to place her in seclusion?
Of course not. But I sometimes wish I could place relations in seclusion. They are always so much more trouble than patients.
Do you think she knows what happened to the money?
If she does, she's the only one.
Is there any possibility that there's method in her madness?
Miss Willie, I find it harder every day to know exactly where reason ends and madness begins. For now, I must accept the presumptive evidence of her stepchildren.
Well, from what I've heard, her son's record in Congress would give any good psychiatrist a nasty turn.
And the sensationalism of her daughter's 6 divorces certainly doesn't speak too well for her emotional stability either.
You wanted to see me, Doctor?
Yes, good morning. Miss Willie, will you go out and help with the switchboard? Miriam has been deluged with calls from newspapers.
Yes, Doctor.
Will you take a seat?
I think I know what you're going to talk to me about.
Do you?
I see you have the morning papers. I wondered how long it would take them to find out.
Then you're aware of what you've done, and the consequences?
Oh, it's too early for consequences, Doctor. May I?
The senator phoned from Washington. They'll be here by tonight.
Indeed, we can't expect them. Well, I'm not going anyplace.
How could you possibly have spent $10 million without someone knowing about it?
Who says I spent it?
Why, the paper said you did.
I didn't spend it. I couldn't. I hid it.
You hid it?
In nice $500,000 negotiable bonds that can't be traced.
Why?
I don't ask you what you do with your money, Doctor.
Oh, I'm afraid this has happened to you, Mrs. Savage. I'm afraid your hidden treasure is going to prove you a great disadvantage.
That's because you're a doctor, and doctors never know the value of money.
Would you like to know how long it would take me to make that much money, Mrs. Savage?
Please go on.
All right. It's been a bit...
Excuse me. Fairy May wanted me to play some violin while she planted her seeds.
Hannibal, you were a statistician. Tell me, how long would it take the average doctor to make, $10 million?
Well, he'd have to start before Christ was born and work his way up to the burning of Rome and the burning of St. Joan and Sabinilla. With time out, of course, for the Norman Conquest, the Crusades, the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, the 7 Years' War. And so he'd have to work double time from the discovery of America up until penicillin and bubblegum. Well, that's without taking into account federal tax, state tax, city tax, school tax, luxury tax, and amusement tax. You'd have to add 100 more years for that.
It's a great deal to be responsible for, Mrs. Savage.
What is the doctor up to now?
A bit of emotional blackmail, I suspect. Hannibal, would you guess to look at me that I'm worth $10 million on the hook?
Never. The human body only has 20 cents worth of iodine, 5 cents worth of phosphorus, and 20 more cents worth of calcium. Even at today's current high prices, nobody's worth more than $1.50.
So you only value me at $1.50?
Never. You said worth. Your value is inestimable.
Hannibal, I like you. I like you very much. You make me feel important. You make me feel like dancing.
Splendid! What shall I play?
Anything.
I'm great on the flight of the bumblebee.
Could anything be more appropriate? The bees come home and find their honey gone. Someone is going to get stung. Play, Hannibal.
Now will be a 10-minute intermission. 10 minutes exactly, please. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please double check your phones are off and not making any noises. If you turn them back on, just make sure you turn them off again. The cell phones. All right, let's take our seats.
Very.
I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Now, what makes you think that, dear? What's the matter, Fairy May?
Nothing. Just that no one has said they love me in this livelong day.
Why, yes, they have, Fairy.
Oh, no, they haven't. I've been waiting.
I heard Florence say it at the dinner table.
Did she?
Did I?
She said, don't eat too fast, Fairy.
Was that saying she loved me?
Of course. People say it when they say, hurry back, or take an umbrella, it's raining, or even, watch out, you'll break your neck. There are hundreds of ways of wording it. You just have to listen for it, my dear.
My dentist said I had the perfect occlusion. Do you think he was telling me he loved me?
What else? Why, the first day I met my husband, I was riding horseback, and he told me I had a good seat. I knew immediately that he loved me.
Oh, thank you. I've been missing so much. My dentist loves me. Can you believe that?
Now, is there anything else I can clear up for you, dear?
I don't think so. I'm sorry to disturb you. Thank you and forgive me.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes, Florence?
I'm keeping score and the boys won't help me. What's 7 and 5 and 4?
49, Mrs. Savage. Don't worry, Hannibal. I refuse to submit to the tyranny of mathematics. It's my own system.
Then I win.
I'm keeping score next time.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes, Fairy?
may I disturb you for a moment?
Of course.
There is one other thing you can clear up for me. Why is it suddenly Sunday again when it was Sunday only yesterday?
Why do you think it's Sunday?
Well, your children are coming to see you. That must mean it's Sunday because Sunday is Visitor's Day. I've just had an awfully good time this week.
It isn't Sunday, Fairy. My brood are coming back because they couldn't wait a week.
Shouldn't that make you happy?
It should, but it doesn't.
Excuse me, you don't like them?
Not at all.
Oh, I think that's a good thing to say.
Well, we all must do what get every once in our life to get God's attention, Florence. But if it consoles you, they weren't really mine. My husband was left with 3 small children.
And you must have liked them when they were little, no?
Oh, I wanted to make them mine, desperately. But they always resented me. Why, the first day I put my arms around Lilybell, she bit me. And she bit me every day until she turned 10.
That must have made you very high-strung.
What stopped her at the exact age of 10?
Well, I suppose at the age of 10, a girl begins to consider her teeth.
But the boys are always so much better.
Not always. They've been spoiled by money. And whenever I tried to correct them, they'd break something I treasured to get even with me. It was a happy day when they went away to school.
School must have taught them something.
Yes, French. After that, any time they came home, they spoke nothing but French, so I couldn't understand them. And I haven't understood them since.
Then are you proud of them now? The senator is quite famous, isn't he?
That he is, make no mistake. I'm told he gets more threatening telegrams than any man in Congress. I believe the Western Union lists him as a tangible asset.
If he's so unpopular, why do the voters keep sending him back to Washington?
They're no fools. It's the only way to keep him out of the state.
The other son's a judge, isn't he?
That's a distinction.
He's made it one. He has the distinction of having more of his decisions reversed than any man in jurisprudence.
Is your daughter very pretty, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, there's a picture of her in the newspaper. I'll show you and you can judge for yourself.
We don't look at pictures in the newspaper either. People are always pinned under trucks.
I'll peek first, to make sure it isn't horrible.
Well, even I don't say it's horrible.
Oh, she's a queen. She's wearing a crown.
Oh, a queen?
That isn't a crown, the fairy. It's a tiara. It's an old picture taken from when she was married to her Slovak prince.
Let's take a quick look, Hannibal, just to be polite.
Then she's a princess.
No, she discarded the prince a good 6 husbands ago.
Oh, but why?
Hell hath no fury like a woman playing second fiddle.
But she kept the tiara.
Indeed she did. I suspect she sleeps in it.
Her dress is cut rather low, isn't it?
I don't know that I've seen a prettier tiara.
I don't like her. Let's do something mean to her.
Harry!
Well, I don't mean really mean. I mean like putting her picture up on a dartboard and throwing darts at it.
My dear, you're a sweet child. That's exactly what we'll do. Well, you wouldn't. I need exercise, my dear.
Harry, you're an evil girl to think up such a thing.
Don't talk to me like that. I'm sensitive.
You're alone, Florence. I'm the culprit. Now, what can I pin this up with?
Mrs. Fatty has some thumbtacks.
Mrs. Patty, that is the loveliest seascape I've ever seen. Do you know I can actually smell the ocean? I think your genius lies in your simplicity. You challenge the imagination. May I borrow 4 thumbtacks? Thank you.
Setting a very bad example for motherhood.
Do stop worrying, Florence. Don't you like surprises?
Well, yes.
I want to surprise Lilybell. I'll tee off. Our target for tonight. Right in the tiara.
Something dreadful is going to happen. I just know it.
Everybody to the upstairs study. Mrs. Savage's visitors are here.
May I stay, Miss Lily? I never get to meet strangers anymore.
I'm sorry, Fairy, but the senator insisted on privacy. Hurry now, everybody out.
One day when I'm ordered out, I'm just going to go. Without saying anything. I'll have as much pride as anyone.
All the way upstairs now.
How's the weather out there?
Stormy. Here are your visitors, Mrs. Savage.
That will be all. You can wait outside. I'll leave the latch off and wait at the hall desk.
I don't know what to say to you, Mother. For the life of me, I do not know what to say.
Polite will say good evening.
Deception is so unlike you. I am not angry. I'm just hurt.
Have you the faintest idea of the enormity of what you've done? You sole control of 15 Savage Industries.
We'll have to sell our stock in Savage Press to buy it back.
Didn't you find out? I sold that first.
I mustn't get excited. Oh, you got the lines.
What else did you dispose of?
Everything in my name.
Oh, good Lord. We're ruined.
What have you done with the money? You couldn't have spent it.
Tell us what you did with it, dear.
I converted it into a neat little bundle of bonds and buried them.
When you say buried, you mean hidden.
I mean buried as in funeral.
As in the ground.
I feel physically ill.
Where is it buried?
I forget.
Oh Lord, grant my mother won't want to know clarity!
Where did you bury it? Concentrate!
Best thing in the world for taking out lines, Lilybell. I need to do something about getting you a new eye. Do you know any place that sells bear's eyes, Lilybell?
Give me that stupid thing and answer us!
Miss Lily, help!
Lilybell, wait! You're just antagonizing her. We won't get anywhere from shouting.
I'm sorry, Mother. Pulled your bear. We forget that you are sick.
What we must make you understand, Mother, is that the money involved is not what makes That's so concerning. But disgrace of all. What happened?
She bit me!
Oh, nonsense. Whatever she might do, she will descend to biting.
It was a wasp. This hammered it was a wasp. It's one legal mother. I'm the one bitten.
There is no need to raise your voice.
Oh, my poor Lilibel. Does it hurt?
Of course it hurts.
Lilibel, we won't get anywhere from fighting among ourselves. Now stop it. We can't afford it.
You can't afford anything.
All we must make you understand, Mother, is that we simply refuse to be angry with you, Mother. Lilibel, apologize.
I will not.
Lilibel.
It's quite all right, Mother. I don't object you biting me now and mangle me to the bone, gum me to your heart's content. Only tell us what you did with our money.
My money. You've already had your share.
The estate is ours. It's belonged to such family for generations.
8 generations.
It's unthinkable that you should be the first savage to be found wanting.
Found wanting what?
The savage pride. Now, I want you to listen carefully of what I have to say. The estate is a sacred trust. We never consider ourselves possessors of great fortune, but custodians. Don't do that!
Look! I just asked you to look! She's been throwing darts at my picture!
What of it? That can't possibly hurt you.
It's a vicarious form of murdering someone. It's the most vicious sort of food known to science.
Okay, guys, we're losing ground here.
We've been poisoned by a werewolf, every son of us.
My patience is exhausted. What have you done with the money?
I told you I buried them.
Where? Unless you don't tell them where they are, you'll be sent to a public institution. We'll not tolerate this criminal waste.
You've got me in such a state I can't remember. I have it right in my head anyhow. You've said so time and again.
Excuse me, not me.
With all this shouting, you've given me a headache. I can't remember a thing.
What do you mean you can't remember a thing? Of course you can.
I can't. My head is pounding.
We better be careful, Titus.
Maybe we get something for you.
Yes. The only thing that cures my headaches are those old powders I used to take.
Where are they?
I'm out.
We'll get them for you.
You will?
Of course.
Here's the prescription. It's from my druggist in Boston.
You mean drive all the way back to Boston?
Where is everyone?
Are you ill? Titus, this is dangerous. We better get those powders and come back in the morning. We want to accomplish anything tonight.
Yes, I agree. You get the prescription filled.
Get it filled, Samuel. And when we get back, I'm going right to bed.
Are you going to tell us what you've done with those bonds in the morning?
Pound, pound, pound.
Not to I think I'm gonna go. I think it's a good time to go. I'm gonna go get the chauffeur. I'll tell him we're ready. Okay? Yeah.
Wait. Now, what got into it? Well, we'll be back first thing in the morning.
Pound, pound, pound.
Come, Lilibel. I'll have Dr. Evan give her a sedative.
Lilibel, what do you mean by...
I have something important to tell you about the bonds. Close the door.
Well...
I want to tell you, and you alone, where I've hidden them.
Why me?
Titus and Samuel are fools. If anything happened to me overnight, the bonds would be lost.
It was Titus who wanted you here, not I. Where did you hide them?
Where would you hide $10 million if you didn't trust banks?
I don't know.
Under a rock?
Of course not.
Under your mattress? Of course, you're never far from your mattress. But say you were, and the house burned down.
Are you going to tell me or not?
Have you ever been to the Museum of Natural History?
No.
Very educational. And fireproof.
Mother! Please!
Do you know what's on the third floor of that museum?
How could I?
The Department of Ichthyology.
What are you talking about?
Fish. In the last room on the third floor, hanging from 2 wires, is a big, dusty porpoise.
Well,
I stuffed my bones into that stuffed fish, but no one was looking.
oh, I don't believe you.
Name me a safer place.
Only a fool would do such thing.
That's me.
How could you get a package of bonds inside a porpoise?
Easy. A razor blade and some scotch tape.
How do I know you're telling me the truth?
There's a simple way to find out.
You must think I'm very gullible. I have no intention of hunting inside a stuffed fish.
Are we to hold the car all night for you, Lilybell? Samuel is honking.
Let him honk!
Dr. Edlich will see you in a few minutes.
Titus,
Yes?
kiss me goodbye.
Huh. You bit Lilybell. I don't trust you.
That's ironic, because I trust you. I was just about to tell you where the bonds are hidden.
Surely you knew I never wanted you here. I listened to Lilybell.
If I tell you where the bonds are, will you get me out of here?
You know I will.
Then I'll tell you. The bonds are in a tin box.
Where?
Do you remember when I went to Washington with a group from Actors Equity?
No.
Well, it was National Ethel Week. We all had lunch with the First Lady. There was Ethel Barrymore, Ethel Merman, Ethel Hill, Ethel Waters.
What are you talking about?
I buried my bonds inside the president's hothouse.
I don't believe you.
You didn't believe Pearl Harbor until you investigated.
But why would you choose such a public place? Everyone in and out.
Well, I'm not very bright.
I'm the only one who can't get into the White House.
You should agree with him oftener.
How do I know you didn't imagine this?
There's a sure way to find out. Dig.
Oh, no. I'm not falling into that trap. You didn't bury the bonds there.
In the corner, under the petunias.
Titus, unless you hurry, Samuel's going off without us.
I'm going. I refuse to believe you.
We listened. We're horrible.
We're quite ashamed.
We all wish we were dead.
Oh, not that far.
We wanted to stop listening and sneak away, but we couldn't without making too much noise.
It's quite all right. It's actually common knowledge. If you read the papers, you'd know.
Did you really hide all that money?
I did indeed, for my memorial fund.
And now you're giving it back.
You're very generous for your size and weight.
You didn't tell the judge where his share was.
That prescription was actually a note saying to dig under the chimney.
But why did you hide it if you were going to tell them where it was?
What makes you think I did?
We hurt you.
Foolish I am, but not that foolish. Whatever's inside that stuffed porpoise, or under the chimney, or inside the president's petunias, it's not my little bundle of bonds.
How do you know they'll believe you?
They want to believe me.
Won't they find it degrading to go out digging?
They might, but they will.
How can you be sure?
There are a million things a man won't do for $5, but there aren't 5 a man won't do for $1 million.
How splendid. Nothing makes the truth seem so shabby as a magnificent lie.
me.
Oh, I didn't know anyone was in here.
And I didn't know you could play the piano.
I only play when I'm alone.
You shouldn't be so shy, Jeff. No one is going to compare you to a professional.
But I am a professional.
Oh.
I made my debut in town hall a week before the war. Jeffrey Meredith. You see?
Why, it says you were wonderful. Forgive me, Jeff, I should have known.
I was going to appear with a Philharmonic. I didn't. But I have the contract to prove I might have.
But you never play, Jeff. Please do go on.
No, I don't like to be stared at.
I'll turn the other way and listen.
I'd rather not. I'm not ready to face people yet. Please, don't insist.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Thank you. Can you keep a secret?
About 10 minutes.
Dr. Emmett isn't a doctor at all.
Well, what is he?
A patient, just like Mrs. Patty.
Why don't you think he's a doctor?
For 5 years now, he's promised to give me a new face.
No, he's a doctor, Jeff. It says so on his office door.
Do you believe a man is what he claims to be?
I'm a trusting soul. I like to believe the best in people.
It's best to believe the worst. If you believe the worst, then the worst is only half bad at best, and the best is no worse than expected. So it's best to believe the worst.
You know, Jeffrey, that is just obscure enough to be profound. What does it mean?
It's simple. When a man claims he is wise, you say he's a fool. But if he says he's a fool, you believe him.
Well, only a fool claims to be wise.
Exactly! Which proves I'm right. Dr. Emmett is a fool. He claims he's a doctor. The war was over 5 years ago. And where's his miracle?
Some things take a long time to heal, Jeffrey.
I can't wait much longer. I'm getting old. I'll be 26 soon.
That's ancient. Why don't you forget your friends and play anyhow?
Look at me and tell me an audience won't shudder at the sight of me. Look. Did you see?
I see nothing to hide, Jeffrey.
Dr. Emmett told you what to say.
No, he didn't, I promise. But I believe him if I were you. Give him a little more time.
All right. I'll give him 5 years more.
Fair enough.
Do you know something?
Not a thing. I'm awed only by the magnitude of what I don't know.
I wouldn't tell this to anyone else. Hannibal really can play the violin.
No.
Yes!
Well, I'm tone deaf, of course.
I'll tell you something else. I sometimes wish I were.
Well, you're a sweet boy to pretend.
Poor Hannibal really can't play. Yet, he does. I can. But I won't. Don't you think that's funny?
Not very.
There's a rat in the hall! A rat as big as a mouse! Climb up on the chair quickly, Mrs. Savage!
Fairy, what am I going to do with you?
You put me right out of my coffee.
You know there's no rat in the hall.
But Mrs. Savage doesn't. She's bored here, and I tend to make life exciting for her.
Thank you, Fairy. You'll be pleased to know that I just aged 50 years. That puts me well over the 100 mark.
We must have a birthday party. I'll make candles.
You'll sit down quietly and drink your coffee.
Oh, I ate too much again. Ugh.
You shouldn't exercise right after a meal, Hannibal.
I know, but if I wait until I'm comfortable, my conscience won't needle me. Ugh.
Are you sure there have been no calls or messages from me today? Positive. Well, in that case, do you think it would be possible for me to send to the village for tonight's Newspaper? Well, if you'll serve the coffee, I'll ask Dr. Emmett. Gladly. Here you are, Bingo.
Florence hasn't been served.
Don't stand on manners, Jeff. I'll get my own coffee. Miss Willie knows just how you like yours.
Very well. Thank you.
You're annoyed.
You single me out for attention, Miss Willie. It's unfair and it makes me uncomfortable.
Jeff, I'm so tired tonight. I'm sorry, I didn't remember. You'll have to forgive me.
Yes, of course. I forget too.
Mirror, mirror in my hand, who's the fairest of the land? Fairy who?
Cream in your coffee, Fairy?
Yes, please. Do you think this dress is anything for me? I made it myself.
Sugar? It's sheer delight.
5. I didn't have time to put it together. I had to finish it all with pins.
Hannibal?
No, thank you.
Would you like to know something that might make that exercise a little more enjoyable, Hannibal?
An enjoyable way of exercising has yet to be invented.
Well, I know of an improvement. All you need is a deck of cards.
I went to a fortune teller when I was 13. Everything he told me turned out wrong. I never believed in cards after that.
Very, very fair.
All you need to do is throw them up in the air.
Why?
To lose weight. Now you just lean over and pick them up one by one.
I like that. Very tidy.
I learned it in a beauty course.
Why, thank you, Mrs. Savage. This is a great improvement.
Wouldn't it be easier to pick them up sideways?
Much. The man was made all wrong. His stomach should be in the back. It gets in the way when he bends over. And when he kneels, his legs buckle out in front of him instead of folding neatly behind him. Why should his nose be in front? It only gets in the way when he kisses.
You're so right.
I guess God was in a hurry.
Well, Hannibal, what are we doing now?
We're losing weight.
Well, could you postpone it for a little while? Would you all go upstairs for a few moments? I want to talk to Mrs. Savage. Florence, would you take the coffee up with you?
I do hate having coffee upstairs. It's so middle class.
Upstairs, downstairs, to let me go scream. May I stay, please?
No, you may not.
Where is John Thomas?
Oh, I think you left it up on the phonograph, Florence.
Oh, he does adore the classics. Get it for me, Jeff.
Miss Willie tells me you seem anxious to see tonight's newspapers. Why?
Habit.
There they are. It will undoubtedly please you to know that you have caused considerable trouble once again.
Oh my, Titus on the front page. Senator trapped in White House hothouse.
I've just been talking to him. He's exceedingly angry.
Imagine pulling up all these petunias. What will everyone think?
As a result of this, your position here has deteriorated considerably.
And my disposition has blossomed enormously. Anything about Samuel?
Oh, yes. Here's the Boston Post. Her mischief is 100% Mrs. Savage.
What a horrible picture of Lilybell. This would frighten even Fairy.
According to this, she resisted arrest.
So I see. Female vandal invades museum, berserk heiress bites police. Now they really are fools, aren't they, Doctor?
What do you hope to gain, Mrs. Savage?
Better terms.
For your freedom?
For my husband's memorial fund.
Your children believe that money can be put to better use.
Of course. their own. Lilybell has settled over $1 million on her 6 husbands. Titus and Samuel have spent just as much to secure jobs to which they have no right. Is that better use?
They consider it most unorthodox, Mrs. Savage.
That is ridiculous. There are plenty of charities for foolish people in desperate need, but none for people with a desperate need to be foolish.
What brought you to that conclusion?
My own life. No matter what we have, we never forget the foolish things we always wanted. I'm sure that if Hannibal had been given a violin when he wanted one, he wouldn't need one now.
That's quite possible.
I want my husband to be remembered with warmth and gratitude for a few foolish dreams come true. I will not give up my memorial to him.
I want to discuss this with you further, but at the moment you have visitors waiting. Senator, you may come in now. I'll be right outside if you need me.
My headache's gone.
How dare you make a fool of me? How dare you! You tried to kill me. Oh, you knew that chimney would fall if I started pulling bricks out, didn't you?
We're really not a very bright family, are we?
Oh, you must be so happy indeed to see the name of Savage held to ridicule again.
Did you dig, Titus?
8 FBI men jumped on me, pushed my face on the ground, thought I was planning a bomb.
Why didn't you tell papers the truth? I did! Sleepwalking? Really?
Huh, you find a better excuse with 8 men on your chest.
She'd love the chance.
It was learned today that the senator's mother, Miss Ethel P. Savage, the actress, was recently held for irresponsible actions. Democratic leaders were quick to point out that this may lead to strange behaviors going on in the Congress by the senator. Do you have any idea what this does to me politically?
Makes you a Mort Canard, dead duck. French, remember?
I'll never survive it. Never!
They treated me like a common criminal! I was fingerprinted!
I meant to ask you, Lilybell, what is in a stuffed porpoise?
Do you know what the papers call us now?
The mad savages.
How do you like it?
What have you done with the bonds?
What have you done with your dignity?
Where is my money?
Where is your self-respect?
May I ask what you intend to do now?
Are you prepared to listen to my terms? Or would you care to dig in Grant's tomb?
We are prepared to compromise.
If that means that you'll see things my way, then compromise is the right word.
I'll be effecting your release in the custody of someone for a period of time. It will look better for us.
I'd be willing to give her a complete freedom if she'd give up acting and lead a dignified life.
Freedom, as Titus can tell you, is the right to make the wrong decision.
What would we even get?
That's what I like about you, Titus. No nonsense. You will each receive a reasonable yearly allowance.
How reasonable are we talking?
I shall be generous, but the bulk of the estate must be given away by my fund.
It's completely madness.
We might have the commitment for a vote. Only you two have played another trick on us. Where would we be then?
Where are you now?
Get it over with, Titus.
When I'm released, I'll keep my promise. But I warn you, don't have me followed.
My retraction, son.
Fine, but I'm telling you, I am tired of having my decisions reversed.
Samuel! Wait a minute!
What is it?
I found the answer on the cover of this medical journal.
What are you talking about?
A way to avoid your compromise. But before that, I have to see Dr. Emmett first.
Aren't you going to sign the petition, Lilybell?
Titus, don't you ever sign anything until I come back.
Wait. Lilybell! What could she have read?
God knows. Something to trick you. If you listen to her, you'll end up without a cent.
What should I do?
Sign it. Lily Bell has gotten us into trouble enough.
Right first.
How many T's in commitment?
3!
2! It just doesn't look right. Look, you see? Commit to meant to.
Give me that. All right.
Give me my pen back.
No.
Give it back. Titus, give it back.
No. All it means to say the commitment was ill-advised and request release. Will that satisfy you?
It will when you sign it.
Sign it, Sam.
What are you doing?
Just in time, Lily Bell. We're signing the letter. Sign it.
It isn't necessary.
You'll regret this.
Lily Bell, you've no right act without consulting us.
Oh, do be quiet. Read this.
Read what?
The article on sodium pentothal. It's... Perhaps I'd better let Dr. Emmett explain. Will you tell what sodium pentothal does to them, Doctor?
Well, it's generally used in cases of shock. It relieves tension, releases the patient's inhibitions, and makes them generally more receptive to suggestion.
It's called the truth drug.
That's not quite accurate, however.
But under its influence, the patient answers truthfully. Isn't that so?
Well, if they answer at all.
Now, do you understand? Did you want me, Doctor?
Oh, yes, just a moment.
Well, if that's so, then Doctor, I would like you to administrate this truth drug to my mother at once.
Haven't I any rights at all, Doctor? Dr. Emmett, may I say something? Surely you're not going to listen to these people. It's a flagrant misuse of science.
Dr. Emmett, I told you to give this truth drug to my mother at once.
Mrs. Savage, if I refuse, your guardians are well within their rights to take you away from my authority. I am confident they will find the means of subjecting you to the influence of sodium pentothal elsewhere.
Then let someone else be responsible, Doctor.
$10 million hidden away from use does no one any good, least of all you, Mrs. Savage. It remains an ever-present sign of psychotic thinking. This is your opportunity to prove that you are capable of making a rational decision. An intelligent mind recognizes defeat.
Well, let it be known that I was not forced to my knees by science. I will tell you where the bonds are. They are...
Wait! Please come to the rescue.
It's not too late. We'll stand by you, Mrs. Savage.
You just happen to be listening. Shame on you, and you, and you.
Dr. Emmett, who are these people?
These are my friends.
Hannibal, weren't you asked to say upstairs?
I want to protest! Doctor!
Who gives you the right to protest, sir? This doesn't concern you.
I love you all dearly for wanting to help me, but as you must have heard, Dr. Emmett really hasn't much of a choice.
What will you do, Mrs. Savage?
Give them the bonds.
I think you've made the right decision, Mrs. Savage.
Well, are you going to tell us what?
I'm going to show you. We are going to show you.
Oh, you'll...
Here's your treasure.
My God, she had that with her all the time!
What happened to the lights?
Spotty! Oh, Spotty!
Someone turn those lights back on.
There. Just a moment, I'll turn them back on.
For heaven's sake, Titus, don't move! Someone might kill you! Titus, strike a match!
I haven't got a match.
What's this? It's red! Go on me! Ah! Where's my crutch?
Turn those lights back on. Do you hear me? Who turned those lights off?
One of our patients. Oh, Mrs. Petty.
Where's Lily Bell?
She's disappeared.
My gracious, what are you doing down there?
somebody.
Push me!
It wasn't me. I wasn't near enough.
They're gone! The bonds! What have you done with them?
I put them on the table. You saw me do it.
Then where are they?
Excuse me, Senator. May I suggest that Mrs. Patty took them? It seems obvious to me that she turned the lights off, took the bonds, and fled.
Miss Willie, get Mrs. Patty. Notify all guards to stop her before she destroys those bonds.
I can't bear it. I simply can't bear it. I'm going to pieces.
Try this. That should help.
Darling Patty. Let's go for a walk, girls.
Oh my. Why? This is simply a madhouse!
There will be another 10-minute intermission. Please be back in your seats in 10 minutes exactly at 2:49. Welcome back to Act 3 of The Curious Savage.
Yes, Miss Wilhelmina. Good.
Well?
All the wards have been locked off, the guards are on high alert, and Miss Willie is searching the basement right now.
But did she find that woman?
No. Yet.
Then what in the heaven's name was the good about?
We're trying every possible precaution, Senator.
That maniac has $10 million worth of negotiable bonds. If they're not found, they cannot be replaced.
What will she do with them, Doctor?
Oh, she'll probably eat them.
I don't know, but we're sure to find them. It may take a little time.
Years, probably.
It was right in front of us. What an outcast! Why didn't you stop her?
How would I know the lights going out?
It's quite possible that Mrs. Patty didn't take them at all.
Of course she did. No one else could have.
You could have.
Lily Bell was 10 feet away from the table.
Yes, but she's mighty quick when it comes to money. Personally, I think she took them and stuffed them down her front. Heaven knows there's room.
You didn't take them, did you, Lily Bell?
Can't you see she's trying to make us suspect each other?
Well, someone could have. He was pictures with the table in the middle of an hour.
She was right when she said it.
Well, what have you got to say?
It wasn't me. I don't like bonds.
Oh my God, it's the Queen of Spades. Someone is going to die.
Dr. Emmett, must we have these people here?
Just get them out of here. Wait! Do not let anyone out of our sight until he's searched.
Everybody off with his clothes.
My bell too?
Very. Just a moment. Mrs. Savage, please don't make this any more difficult than you already have.
And for God's sake, do something about this man tells me further up. My nerves are on edge.
Hannibal, don't.
Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Oh, I understand you have a very pretty tiara. Do you sleep in it?
Oh, do sit down, you unattractive creature. I've had it quite enough.
I do not like
Fairy, come in and sit there down quietly while we wait. Well, Mrs. Patty, you have the entire staff searching for you.
Stop her! Don't let her get away!
I think you better let us talk to you, Mrs. Patty.
Now, we'll find out where those bonds are. Madam, hand them over.
You'd better let me talk to her. She won't answer you.
Oh, yes, she will.
Oh, no, she won't.
We'll see about this. Well, madam, what have you to say for yourself?
I hate everything in the world. But most of all, I hate revolving doors, cuspidors, bats, buzz, fleas, bumblebees, prickly heat, bats, gnats, pills, pots, pens, butts, bladders, worms, germs, pachyderms, and politicians.
What does she mean?
Weren't you listening?
Excuse me.
Madam, did you hear what I asked you?
She can hear you perfectly well, Senator, but she won't answer you. She hasn't answered a question in 20 years.
Don't try to play any tricks on me, madam.
Careful, Titus. She carries a knife.
Mrs. Savage, please! Miss Patty is hostile! But quite harmless. Now, Senator, will you be kind enough to yield the floor to me?
Very well. But I want to hear her talk.
So do we all.
Mrs. Patty, this is quite important. You will nod yes or no to the questions I ask of you. Did you take some bonds from the table a few moments ago?
She did and she didn't.
Oh, this is so exciting. I wish we could open the door and have a body fall out.
Mrs. Patty, look at me. Do you remember turning the lights off? Yes, you do. Now, do you remember a small pile of papers on the table a few minutes ago? Try to remember. Think.
Dr. Emmett, I found them.
Oh, no, you don't. Hand them over to me.
But Senator.
I'll take charge of these.
Ooh, radio tunes.
What is this? You said you found those bonds.
I said nothing of the sort.
This restores my faith in witchcraft.
Miss Willie, where did you find them?
In the basement. In the hot air duct leading to Fairy's room.
I told you I was cold all winter and you wouldn't believe me.
I hold you personally responsible for this fiasco, Doctor.
Just what would you suggest that I do, Senator?
Search that woman. She may have a hit on her person.
I'm afraid this is going to present a problem.
Then search everyone else while we focus on making her talk.
Very well. Miss Willie, take Mrs. Savage to her room at once. Search her carefully.
No. Take me. I'm the youngest and therefore I am dressed the quickest. Or do you want to draw straws?
You go ahead, Fairy. I don't want to miss anything. Would you like to come with me, Fairy?
You know, I was once asked to play Lady Godiva for the Elks pageant, but I didn't. My mother was afraid of so many elks.
Miss Patty, would you like to save us a lot of trouble?
Dr. Emmett, don't you have some kind of threat you resort to here?
I don't threaten my patients. Mrs. Patty, look at me.
The truth drum!
Of course, we can use the truth drum on her. Then we can make her talk.
I'm afraid that's out of the question. I'd have to have her guardian's consent.
Very well, we'll give it. Who are their guardians?
Her husband.
We'll get him on the phone. Where is he?
Japan.
Well, in his absence, haven't you the authority to act?
Well, we've no proof that she took them yet.
I still think Lilybell's your girl.
Could you stop saying that?
Dr. Emmett,
Yes, Jeff?
since Mrs. Savage can't have her bonds anyhow, I think I can help you.
Yes.
Mrs. Patty didn't take them
How do you know?
because I took them.
He's the thief! I knew being tricked! Hand them
I can't.
Did you take them, Jeffrey?
Yes, sir?
Then where did you take them?
I've searched Fairy, Doctor. She doesn't have them.
Speak up!
I threw them out the window.
Quickly, tenants will walk from the window! Stop! Parcheesi! They're all game of India.
There's nothing out of the window, Jeff.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
What do you mean by misleading us?
Let go of him, you stupid ox!
But he said he took the bonds.
Well, he didn't. I happen to know he didn't.
And just how do you happen to know that?
That's none of your business.
How do you know, Miss Willie?
Because I had my arms around him when the lights went out.
But she didn't. That is not true. I took them. No one else.
Dr. Miss Willie, something awful is happening. There's a fire upstairs with flames this high.
Fairy, you mustn't. We've guessed.
We were. This high at least.
Fairy, come in and sit down quietly.
There's a fire upstairs. Please believe me.
Where?
In the bathtub.
Fairy, sit down.
I can't. I'm full of pins.
If you did take them, Jeffrey, where did you take them?
I told you he couldn't have taken them.
Of course he couldn't have, Dr. Emmett.
And I suppose you took them.
I confess everything.
There's a fire upstairs.
There's conspiracy down here.
Where are they, Florence?
I will tell you.
Oh, these people are trying to deceive us.
I have committed this crime with full knowledge of the stigma involved. However, you must leave my son out of this.
Something is burning upstairs.
I say we search her.
Please, little man.
Miss Willie, take Florence to her room and search her carefully.
Come along, Florence.
Don't worry, Mrs. Savage. I won't tell, even if they put me in solitary confinement and cut off all my hair.
There's no use searching for Florence.
And I suppose you took them.
No, but I know who did.
I know a fire when I see one.
Who did, Hannibal?
It wasn't Mrs. Patty.
Who was it?
It wasn't Florence either.
I don't want to know who it wasn't. I want to know who was it.
Is that good grammar?
If you ask a Mohammedan what God is, he'll name all the things he isn't. It's easier than telling what he is.
And one of the things he isn't is he isn't on your side.
If you know who took the bonds, Hannibal, will you tell us?
I'm not sure who took them, but I know it was a woman, and I know it wasn't Mrs. Patty.
Oh, fiddle, let the house burn.
How do you know?
A woman pushed me over to grab them.
Oh, is that so? How do you exactly know that I was a woman?
Really, Titus.
And I knew it was Miss Patty, because Miss Patty doesn't wear perfume.
Lily Bell bathes in it. Why was she nowhere near the table?
Could you identify the scent?
I think so.
Well, I use gardenia. What do you use, Fairy?
No name. I make my own.
Hannibal, smell Lilybell. Titus, I won't tolerate this. They're making fun of us for their own amusement. Smell anything, Hannibal? Yes. What?
Smoke?
My time.
I must be losing my mind. I smell smoke too.
Dr. Emmett, I found a fire in Mrs. Patty's bathtub.
In the bathtub!
I'm afraid it's the bonds, or what's left of them.
Oh, no, let me see. Why, there's no way telling what these are. Mrs. Patty, did you take these bonds to your room and set fire to them?
Senator, here's a corner of something that didn't burn. Can you tell me what it is?
It's the burnt end piece of a $500,000 bond.
Are you sure? Mrs. Savage, can you identify this?
Well, the treasure hunt is over. It's all that's left of $10 million.
I should have told a lie, then someone would have believed me.
Yes, I'm sorry, Fairy. I should have believed you anyhow. Surely there's no way of having them replaced, Senator.
Isn't.
They can't be gone. They just can't.
You miserable, useless creature! Do you know what you cost us?
Oh, let her alone! There, Mrs. Patty.
I've stood for as much bullying of my patients as I intend to. Now, will you be so kind as to leave at once?
Well, what about the burn piece? Isn't that worth anything?
Nothing. I hold you personally responsible.
I can't be poor. I don't know how.
It's all right, Lilybell. We'll survive. We always have. I am still senator.
Lily Bell, I never meant for it to end this way, believe me.
Titus, take me home, please.
Titus,
Yes.
what happens to me?
You have nothing to worry about. We won't send you to a public institution.
We are... We are savages.
Goodbye. We say goodbye to people we never want to see again.
Don't cry, Mrs. Patty.
Maybe she thinks her cup is cracked.
Did you think you could change them, Mrs. Savage?
No one changes people. One makes changes people learn to accept. I had hoped that by making them look like fools, they might look kindly on the fools of good heart.
And who are the fools of good heart?
I'd say those who gamble on kindness and invest in people. Those that doubt that position means privilege, or that manners mean morals. And, of course, the rebels with no fear of failure.
That makes very good sense.
And justifies my being here.
Would you like to leave?
They would never let me go.
They have no say in it. No commitment is final until I have made my decision. And I find no valid reason for your remaining.
Then I'm free?
Well, I can release you on my own authority at once, but let me check in with the state medical inspector. Then I'll let you know, definitely.
I think I'll pack your things. Just in case, we can always unpack again.
You hate us.
No, I don't, Barry. What makes you say that?
You want to leave us.
I don't. It's just, I must.
Do you have someone waiting for you?
No.
Do you need something?
No.
But you can't go. I haven't had time to get you a going away present. Maybe I could find a suitable present anyhow. If you won't be fussy, I'll go look.
Yeah, I have something. I just remembered. Let's all go.
I'll find something too. Something useless. I hate
Don't go
practical
before we get
gifts.
back now, please. Or you won't get anything.
There's nothing in my room that you would want, Mrs. Savage. But there is something on me that I can give to you. My class ring.
Oh, Hannibal, not the ring off your finger.
Oh, it has no value as far as gold goes, but as far as blood goes, it's a treasure. My heart has pumped my blood through this ring every minute for the past 10 years. That adds up to be 100,000 gallons of blood.
It's too much, Hannibal.
Oh, not at all. But I can't seem to get it off my finger.
Keep it. I deeply appreciate the offer, the sentiment, and the statistics. fingers got too fat around the edges. You've had it so long, it's become part of you. Yeah, I suppose. Shall we exercise one last time? We should.
I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, Mrs. Savage. It was all out of breath. It took me forever to get down here. But I did find something.
What is it? A handkerchief.
Oh no, it's a napkin. So many places are paper napkins, but they all blot or smear.
How nice. I'll take it whenever I'm invited out.
It says the Cloisters on it. Wasn't that lucky?
It was indeed.
Oh, my heart, Hannibal.
Thank you. It's 104 beats to the minute.
Oh, Fairy found something first. What did she get you?
A hand-picked napkin.
Then it goes perfectly with my gift.
It's practical after all.
I do hope you don't mind.
What is it?
A salt shaker. And full of salt, too.
Is it sterling?
Fairy dear, I wouldn't dream of giving Mrs. Savage anything that wasn't sterling.
Oh, it's dented. What a shame.
Really, dents give an antique character.
Indeed they do.
It's engraved. It says the Cloisters on it.
How wonderful.
Well, I'm not saying goodbye. I can't stand goodbyes. I don't recognize them.
Well, you didn't expect us to say goodbye, did you?
I didn't even expect a salt shaker.
Well, welcome to the Cloisters. It's a pleasure to have you here.
We've so looked forward to meeting you, Mrs. Savage. Come, Fairy, let's pretend it's garden hour. Oh, I almost forgot, John Thomas asked me to give you this.
Oh, take an umbrella. It's raining.
Well, Jeff, what did you get?
Just a book. But I hope you like it.
What is it? The Lifespan of the Ape. Do you know I've never read it?
Oh, I was lucky, wasn't I?
I'll read it tonight.
Oh, Mrs. Patty, we thought you'd forgotten about us.
What did you bring, Mrs. Patty?
Oh, how very nice. How did you know this was just what I needed?
May I see it?
A genuine mother-of-pearl button. I'll sew it on at once.
Oh, I think it's intended to make an eye for the bear.
Why, of course. Oh, bless your angry heart. He's hated having only one eye. We both thank you. I hate everything in the world. I hate everything in the world, but I hate everything in the world but you, and I love you, and I wish you wouldn't leave us. Why, she said she loved me. Well, aren't you amazed?
Why? We knew it all along.
Yes, but she spoke.
She had to say it.
Well, it's a lovely night, and everyone's polite. Why don't we head out?
Mrs. Savage? You have a good seat.
Don't break your neck. I think I have everything. Here's your $85 hat back. My beautiful and foolish hat. You know, I think you've been wearing it backwards. You know, I have It's good to be straightened out. Where did everybody go? They all gave me going away presents and then refused to say goodbye.
Bet I can guess what they gave you.
No, you can't. Mrs. Patty gave me an eye with which to see myself. Florence, a grain of salt to take with what I see.
That's good. And Fairy?
A memory of loveliness.
I'm afraid to most people she wouldn't seem a lovely girl.
She wears her plainness with great beauty.
And Jeff?
The Book of Job.
Nothing from Hannibal?
I'd say he gave me an appreciation of music I hadn't had before.
Well, I have something to give you too.
Now you behave yourself. It isn't much. It better not be. My bonds?
Except for the corner of the one I had to burn with the newspapers to make it look convincing.
Where did you find them?
I didn't find them. I stole them when the lights went out.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Don't tell me you're a maniac.
It was too quick to think.
What bothers me is that after I took them, I toyed with the idea of keeping them. That's a normal impulse. What stopped you?
What Jeff might think.
Oh, that's not healthy thinking, my dear. You should get away from this place before it consumes you.
But you knew Jeff was my husband, didn't you?
I most certainly did not.
Well,
Yes.
I wanted it to be here when he recovered. And do you know why I wouldn't keep any of that money? Pure selfishness. I wanted to do everything for him myself. Surely you understand that.
The only thing I don't understand is how I could have ever felt so sorry for myself. Isn't there a saying, no fool like a you-know-what?
Something. But I don't think that applies to you.
Who else knows about these?
I told Dr. Emmett.
Well, whether you like it or not, you're both going to be hearing from my memorial fund.
I talked to the state medical examiner.
Yes?
The station wagon is outside, ready to take you wherever you want to go. I've just a few papers for you to sign, and then you're free. Will you take her bag out to the car?
Yes, Doctor.
I suppose the papers are in the front office.
That they are. I should get them at a time, but would you like anything to say?
Well, it's the end of my mind, really. I don't think I want to go.
You mean you'd like to leave tomorrow?
I don't think I want to leave at all.
Why do you want to stay?
Suddenly, I'm weary. I would like to be relieved of decision. I would like to be protected against accident and uncertainty. I would like to close my eyes at night and know that there are walls to guard my sleep.
But the peace you find here is like the moon reflected on a dark surface. Strike it, and you destroy it. Is that the kind of peace you want?
I want what any man wants, to want nothing. These people have found contentment.
These people have found refuge in an eggshell world where you don't belong. Does Fairy see what the mirror should tell her? Does Florence see, wow, that her son is no longer here? No.
Then where do I belong?
In the world you best can serve. The impulse to live your life with courage was right. Go ahead with your memorial fund, and don't be betrayed by the illusion of contentment. The door is open for you. Make your peace with loneliness.
Oh, Mrs. Savage, I'm so glad you're still here. I just thought of the perfect gift I can give to you.
Oh, Hannibal, not your violin.
Oh, no, you couldn't play it. But I can give you the gift of a song you can take everywhere you go. Here it is.